people that you talk to as an accountant, how many people say that they want to start a business?
I would say 3 out of the 5.
Okay.
3,
3 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
And out of those 3 people, how many of them say that they want an LLC?
Pretty much all.
All of them. So 100% of people
100%.
say they want an LLC.
LLC.
What is your first question when you ask them, hey, you want to start a business, and you either maybe have an LLC already that you've established, or you want to start an LLC? What do you say?
Usually I ask them, what made you even decide to want a business, period?
Okay. And what they say?
It's different reasons behind it. Some people may say, well, I'm tired of working for my job. I'm over it. And I just want something that I own.
Okay.
And that's the main thing that somebody says. That's the first thing that comes in somebody's head.
Okay.
I gotta have my own thing.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But like I tell them, everybody can't be a business owner.
Right. Everybody can't be a business owner. And does everybody need an LLC?
No, they don't. Okay.
So
they don't.
One, everybody doesn't need to be a business owner. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with being a business owner. We both know we both own business. We've owned several businesses, some that have been doing good and some that have not been doing so good, or some that, have failed.
Correct.
Okay, so we got people who want LLCs. We got people who want a business. We got people who may not even be sure that
they even want to be in business.
Okay.
So, or they don't know the structure behind it.
Bingo.
And that's the main thing, because that's the main thing that I ask any business owner, like how you structure. Every time I meet a new person or a new client, I say, how is your business structured?
Do they even understand what you're saying?
No, they don't.
Okay.
Because the first thing that they say is, I got an LLC.
They got an LLC.
Then they have, it's like a song in my head. I got an LLC. I got an LLC. I got an LLC.
They got an LLC. I got an LLC. You got an LLC.
Yeah, it's repetitive. Yeah, repetitive.
So, y'all here, we've been talking about LLC. I've been asking my co-host Tiffany, and I'm Latoya, about LLCs and people who have businesses. This is Take Account Of podcast, and this is
Tiffany Wilson.
Okay, Tiffany Wilson. What about you, Tiffany Wilson?
So let me tell you a little bit about me. I own an accounting firm, and I've had it for 20 years. It's called Check and Balance Accounting Firm, Inc., and I'm located in the Atlanta area. We actually service clients all over the 50 states. We have clients overseas, pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
So the way let me give you a little bit about my background. My father was an accountant. He did it for 47 years. He recently passed away last year. So now I have consolidated our clientele. So I have his and mine.
Okay.
So the way my background works is I started out actually doing chemistry at Tuskegee University. I graduated from Tuskegee in 2001, and I got a chemistry degree. Then once I left there, I went and pursued and got a master's in business from Keller Graduate School of Management. So then I got that. Then I went back to school and got another master's in accounting. So that's how I kind of got started. So I got undergrad, wasn't even thinking about accounting, but I decided to go ahead and do that. And then got the 2 masters, and then I got my license and all that kind of stuff. And I started my business with my business partner, who also went to Tuskegee University. That's where we met, and we became really good friends. His name is Devon Giles. And
shout out to Devon.
Devon. So we've been doing the business together for 20 years. And now I feel like that was the best decision that we made. At the time, I didn't even know I wanted to do a business.
Okay.
Like I always, it was in my family, but I wasn't quite sure, do I want to pursue a business? Like I knew my dad had the business, and I always would help him as a child, and he'll be showing me stuff, and I'm like, do I really know what I'm doing? And he like, yeah, you can do it. And he showed me how. So when I went back to school, I had to learn the why I was doing things, and that helped me to get to open up my business. And I actually did open up a LLC when I first started.
Okay. So Tiffany started off with an LLC.
Yeah.
I want to say that in my business journey, I started off with an LLC. I'm Latoya Dixon. I have a bachelor's degree from Alabama State University, Go Hornets, HBCU.
Yeah.
And I also have a MBA in marketing. That is what I've been known for, and my profession is marketing and branding. And I am currently pursuing my PhD in organizational psychology so that I can help business owners understand their mindset as they go into business or pivot their business and things like that. I've had several businesses. Tiffany has been my accountant along the way. I've had a hair extension business. I've had a PR marketing firm. Currently, I have a consulting business where I work with small business owners, mainly women, to create their business, pivot their business, develop exit strategies for their business. So we are, we decided that we wanted to come together and do a podcast because Tiffany and I work off of each other. She's an accountant. I'm a consultant.
Correct.
I'm also a professor in marketing and branding and social media. So we just decided that it made more sense for us to put together some of the questions that we get into a podcast so we can address some of your questions, some of your concerns, or even just help you in your journey with becoming a business. So this is Take Account of Podcast. And today, we are talking about LLCs because we know just from our history that most business owners are going to come to us and say they have an LLC or they want an LLC. And today we want to make sure that an LLC is the right business entity for you to get started.
Correct. Because like I said, with an LLC, the thing about it, I forget the exact year that it originated, and we're going to come back and talk about the history of all of that stuff in a later episode. But it stands for limited liability company, and it can actually be structured in all of the different structures of business that you can have.
So what are the different structures?
So you have the sole proprietorship, which is the main one, which is with an LLC, you're considered a member. So it's a single member entity, which is the LLC sole proprietorship.
Okay.
Then if you later come down the road and you say, hey, I need somebody to help me out a little bit, so I need a partner. So you can come back in and say, hey, I need an LLC partnership. And a lot of people do those and don't even know they do them. And that's the crazy part.
Right.
Because sometimes the IRS will default you as a partnership if you put an extra person on the information. And
that information, before she get away with it, that information is for your EIN number.
Yeah, correct. Okay. With the EIN number. So as soon as they know, because the thing is, they don't know what the Secretary of State, whatever state you're in, they don't know what your entity is until you come over to the EIN number. And that's when the IRS is like, okay, well, how many members you have and stuff like that. So once you type that number in, you got to be correct and you got to know what you're talking about.
Right.
So a lot of people do the partnership.
Okay.
But then a lot of people, which is what I always suggest, is switching the entity over depending on what they have going on with their taxation on an individual level. So
switching it over to what?
To either a C-Corp or a S-Corp.
Okay.
Which is small business corporation.
Okay.
So the C-Corp, of course, is the one that's not attached to you. Okay. That entity runs its own taxation. It pays its own taxes. And a lot of times people will hear that you're being double taxed. You are being double taxed in a sense because the corporation is taxed and then you're taxed as an individual on your individual return. That's what they mean by that when they say you paying double taxes.
And we're gonna get
deeper into that
episode
on that. Yeah.
But so we have a sole proprietorship, we have a partnership, we have taxation as an S-Corp and taxation as a C-Corp. So Correct. Are those all the types of LLC entities that someone can create?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's the main thing, because a lot of people don't know and they don't understand it, so they'll just start it and then they just like, well, they once again come back to that I got an LLC. That's the first thing that they say to me when I say it's like in my head daily.
I mean, I would say that my clients all have LLCs except maybe a couple of them. They have, corporations. So as an accountant, you're usually the first person that a business might get in touch with if Correct. They are trying to do it and set their business up correctly. Sometimes people jump the gun and they go ahead and just file a LLC with their state, and then they come to an accountant or attorney or someone like myself, like a business coach, and they want to make sure that they're doing things properly. So what would be your tips to make sure, or what would be your advice to make sure that you're selecting the right entity for your business?
Correct.
And why is that very important?
Oh yes, definitely very important. My thing is this: when you decide that you want to go in business and you come up with that name, it's something about that name that everybody like. I usually tell people get 3 names that they like before they do it, so they can make sure it's not taken. Research it once you get that name established, and then you come over to the structure part later. You can get the name registered, that's fine. But once you get into that structure piece, sometimes you do need to sit down with an accountant or an attorney. Like I always recommend people getting a business attorney and say, hey, you know what? Let's talk about my structure. Because you do need to sit down and say, well, okay, what do I need to do? Because most of the time, like I tell people, if you make a lot of income as an individual on your job, most of the time, a LLC, sole proprietorship, is not the best thing for you.
Okay.
Because you may need to separate that income and get a corporation. And that's what we have been having to do.
Right.
The S-Corp, which stands for shareholder, it's a small business corporation, but you are considered a shareholder. So you don't pay your taxes like on a corporate level, but you pay it on an individual level with your individual return.
Okay.
So therefore, you have to decide, okay, do I want to do the S-Corp as well? It's fine because you're not going to pay the self-employment tax, which is what you pay as a sole proprietorship.
Right.
So that's the main thing, is just trying to figure out, okay, what am I making on an individual level before I go into dealing with the business piece of it? Okay. And then that's the main determination right there.
So what am I bringing in as far as my salary?
Exactly. Yep.
And in my salary, I want to make sure that really before you can say this is how much money I'm going to make in my business, you got to kind of project that, okay, you know, in this first year or each month, my goal is to make $2,500 or $5,000 in my business.
Exactly.
And then so that leads you to have to estimate how much revenue you think you're going to make in your business to select the right entity.
The right entity.
Okay.
And then too, even if you are going to be a sole proprietorship, and sometimes you can make a lot and be a sole proprietorship and be okay.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with it. But the caveat of the LLC, what I like about it is, once you have selected that, the first 5 years, you have to stay that way before you can change again.
Okay.
So you have to be there for 5 years.
So you have to be an LLC for 5 years before you can change
the structure of it.
Okay.
The structure.
So like, that's the taxation.
The taxation of it. Like if you say, for instance, you had decided to be a S-Corp.
Okay.
You have to be a S-Corp for 5 years before you can change it to a C-Corp or a partnership or back to a sole proprietorship.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And I think that's something that people don't know.
They don't.
And you mentioned something in regards to making sure that people understand their personal taxes and how they're taxed. Because as a sole proprietor, if you say you're making $60,000 on your job and then you have this business that you started and then this business makes an additional $60,000, that puts you in a whole different tax bracket. Right.
Correct.
So, you know, those are things. So give people 3 tips for, this is what I wanted to say. So you mentioned someone consulting with an accountant. I mean, and an attorney. Everybody can't afford an accountant and an attorney.
Correct.
So if you can't afford an attorney, you know, attorneys have high dollar price per hour. Accountants have high dollar price per hour. So if you cannot necessarily afford it, but you got this business idea, you want to get started, you've been generating some income in your business from family, friends, or whoever.
Correct.
What would be your tips for people if they can't afford accountant or an attorney to assist them with setting up their business?
Setting up their business.
Yeah, what would be your 3 tips?
Okay, awesome. So what I know, one of the things you can do, you can set it up yourself.
Okay.
You can do that. You can set it up yourself with no problem. That's the cheapest way you're gonna go. Not saying that's the right way, But you can also, the second thing you can do, you can inquire about Legal Shield. Legal Shield is like a membership that a lot of people get, and they ask questions from actual real attorneys. And they give them information and guidance and stuff on different legal aspects and stuff like that.
Okay.
The third thing I would say, find you someone that's like a mentor that has been in business. And I'm sure somebody knows somebody that's been in business that they can talk to and say, hey, how do you think, like talk to them and get an understanding of how to set up the business and stuff like that. And then go do it yourself.
Okay. So the first tip is research it yourself.
Research
you can do it yourself if you can't afford to hire an attorney or an accountant to assist you with setting up your business. The second tip is to use some type of legal service. There are plenty of legal services online that you can use that are legitimate legal services that will help you set up your business correctly. There's a minimal small fee that may be associated with it. You may have to sign up for a membership, which is a monthly fee, and those things could range based on what type of services you need. But that is also more an affordable way to do that. And then your third tip was to consult with someone who may already have a business, may be successful in their business, may be able to guide you in the process of how to set those things up.
And be a mentor for him.
And be a mentor in your business. And a mentor, doesn't have to be someone directly in your industry. It just needs to be someone who has had some success and or failures in business and can guide you down the right path for your questions.
And that's what you just said. They had failed. Sometimes that's the best people to talk to.
Yeah, I mean,
because they can tell you how to get out of that stuff.
Yeah,
and how to strive.
Absolutely. In my line of business, I've had success and I've had failures in my
Everybody
business.
has.
And so
everybody has.
One, people can't be scared of it, but those are the type of people that you want to work with. You want to work with people who have had success and have had failures in their business because they're just able to give you a more transparent and real aspect of business survival and business ownership.
And it's called real. Being the reality of it.
Absolutely. Give people some fun facts, Tiffany, about LLC or some facts that they just generally should know.
About business, period.
Well, more so since we're talking about LLCs.
Okay.
Let's keep it
on that.
Yeah, keep it on that.
LLCs.
And then we're going to have plenty of tips for people about business. But since we're talking about LLC, give them maybe some fun facts or maybe talking about if you have an LLC and you establish an LLC in one state, let's say Georgia. We're both from Georgia.
Yeah.
So we'll use Georgia as an example.
Yeah, we can use Georgia.
And then you decide that you want to expand your business to another state or multi-states. Talk about how that works with the LLC too.
Oh, yeah. It does get a little fun because we've done that before.
Yeah.
We have.
We absolutely have.
Yeah, we have. So the good part about LLCs, they're very flexible, and that's what I like about them. That's the caveat of it, because you can do that switching with the structures. Because with me, when I started out, I was an LLC, and I've been all of them.
Okay.
I've been a sole proprietorship.
Okay. Which
with the LLC sole proprietorship, you can do the at-home business expenses and stuff like that. That's actually the only entity that you could do an at-home business expense.
Okay, it's a sole proprietorship. Okay.
Yep, that's the only one.
That's a good tip for y'all because everybody trying to write off everything.
Because I thought about that just now because I know everybody always say, well, I had my mortgage, I had my car, I had this, and I'm like, okay, you did. You had all that.
Right.
You had all that. Yeah.
If it's not a sole proprietorship, most likely you can't include those things.
Yeah. But then... And then you know what? I changed it because even with the partnership, you can do a little bit of the home base too. I forgot about that.
Okay.
The partnership and the sole proprietorship, because the sole proprietorship is the main one, but partnership you can come back in there and the partners can do their own individual at home expenses.
Okay. Okay. So
they sure can.
That's a good fun fact.
Yep.
Well, a good educational fact.
Yeah.
I'll say educational fact.
Yeah, that's true.
About it.
Because a lot of people don't know that. And a lot, like I know I've asked people, they like, oh, I can write that off. I'm like, yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yep, you can.
And we're going to get into what you can and what you cannot write off on your taxes.
Right.
That's going to be,
oh, we going to get real.
That might be a series.
Yeah.
Of what you can and what you can't. So
because it's a lot of tricks to it.
Okay, so that's the pros, right?
Uh-huh.
Give us some cons of LLC.
The only thing with LLC is sometimes like a lot of like banks or something, they don't give you the respect as if like if you was a real corporation. Sometimes they don't, like investors and stuff like that. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of times LLCs really were meant for when people were doing rental properties because they could switch it up, like they could call whatever the name is of the address of the rental property, like 21 Jump Street LLC. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then they can dissolve it and get rid of it, and then they don't have to worry about that income passing through to them or nothing like that.
Okay.
So that's what a lot of people do with LLCs. A lot of realtors, or not necessarily realtors, but just people that have a lot of rental properties dealt with LLCs.
Okay. So is that a pro or a con for someone?
That's a pro, because you don't actually have to like show the income through that company.
Okay.
Because like you may just be having like a it's just like a company, just a shell company.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? A lot of times people use LLCs as shell companies, and then they get rid of them, dissolve them, and they don't have nothing to do with them, and they don't even have to file taxes on them.
Okay.
And then they're good.
All right. So that's a pro. Give me a con. Like why in what example or what space would you tell someone that LLC is not for their business?
For their business?
Yeah.
So if they are trying to do like, changing the entity and stuff like that, when you get stuck in that 5-year rule, that's kind of the part I'm just like, you have to stick with it. The IRS is not playing with you about it. They just like, no. Because I think I may have had that situation with a couple of clients where we wanted to change them over from like a partnership to a S-Corp or something. Whatever we were doing, they had to wait that 5 years out, and they couldn't change. Because say for instance, if you and your partner get in an argument, and you don't want to deal with that, y'all don't want to be partners no more. Right. Then most of the time you have to dissolve that company, so you've lost your company, and then you got to start back over.
Okay, so you dissolve the company, you have to come up with a different name and things like that.
We've had that happen many a times.
Give me another con for people who are contemplating or thinking about wanting to start a business and have or have a LLC currently. What's another con?
Another con I would say, let's see, I know we talked about the structure piece of it. Let me see. I'm trying to think. I can't think of one right off right now. Okay. But we can always come back in another series and talk about that, like the cons and pros of the LLCs. Okay. But for the most part, I know that's the largest one that a lot of people kind of, fall to. Okay. Yep, they fall to.
When so I feel like I'm interviewing you. So I'm going to say when it comes down to LLC, just for a business owner being very clear in their intentions on what they're doing with their business. Don't think about the business for today. Think about the business for the long haul.
Exactly.
And a LLC may be okay for the first 5 years to get you started, but you may need to change over to another type of entity that may better serve your business, whether it's taxes, whether it's being able to, like Tiffany said, have respect in a financial situation where you're trying to get a loan or a line of credit, or even credit cards could be something as well. And I would say making sure that you, not only that the intentions are good for what you're trying to do, but when you thinking about expanding. So I deal with a lot of brands that are small businesses looking to expand their business, also looking to exit their business.
That's it. That's the one. I forgot about that. When you're trying to expand, because like I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a big piece. Like if you need a second location, you really need a corporation.
Right.
Because you could put an LLC up under a corporation. And then what I ended up doing, how I got out of my LLC, I converted it over to a corporation.
Right. So you can convert when you're ready to expand. When you are thinking about exiting your business, so say you've grown your business or you've created some type of product and you want to sell it to a larger brand, you want to make sure that you actually have something more of a corporation setup than an LLC. It just makes it cleaner for you to detach yourself from the business in the long run.
Exactly. And then, you know, with sole proprietorships, like if something happens to you, when you pass away, your company dies.
Your company dies.
Yep.
So you may not, you know, starting off as a sole proprietor may be a good start. Maybe you're testing the water, see how, you know, if it actually picks up and thrives. And then once you get to a certain point, you need to switch out that liability off of your personal self, especially if you have children and you want to
leave it to them.
A legacy or generational type of business where you can actually do that, and that helps you in planning your exit strategy. We'll talk about
I just went through that. Think about it, because my father had a sole proprietorship.
Yeah.
Because that's what they knew growing up.
Yeah.
Was sole proprietorship. Well, that's really all they could have, honestly, because of that age group.
Yeah.
So when he passed, his company passed. Luckily, I had a corporation. I could take on his business clients with clients with no problem, no issue. So if something happened to me, my business runs on.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to tell the people for
the most
LLCs?
part about LLCs? Just the main thing is just business, period. Just know what you're doing before you set it up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of dedication with business, period. And you don't want to just jump into opening up an LLC, because I've seen people. They'll get an LLC. They don't keep up their annual registration with the Secretary of State. It gets dissolved. And then it's like, then they're coming back to you like, oh, I want to reinstate it and stuff like that. But just know what you want to do about business as a whole, because it's a lot of dedication behind it that you need to put into it.
Right.
Because I feel like this, if I'm going to be a business owner, I don't want to be too cheap with it. You know,
so elaborate on that, because I don't want to be too cheap with it. What does that mean?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people, they like to nickel and dime their business.
Okay.
They don't want to put the money into their business to make it work.
We gonna jump into that.
Yeah,
that's a whole different something else that we gonna have to dive down deep into that.
Yeah, we're gonna carve it out and break it down to y'all.
But when it comes to LLC, I think for a final note from myself is that just don't jump into it too fast. Like Tiffany said, make sure that you're serious about having a business. Once you file your EIN number with the government, you're going to have to do a tax return on that business. And if you haven't made any money, or it's just been like a hobby, or you want to test and see and generate some revenue first.
Absolutely.
See if it has the potential to grow and build in that revenue that you're looking for. Because some of these businesses that people want to start are really hobby businesses, and until it gets to a certain threshold of revenue, that's when you really need to consider, filing with your state, picking the right entity, and then also filing for your EIN with the government, so that you can now bring that into a business that's generating some type of income for you. So what would be your final thought?
So my final thought, let's see. Just make it make sense.
That's our motto.
Yeah, make it
that's
make
our
sense.
motto behind. When the cameras
make
off,
sense.
That is our motto.
Make it make sense.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. So you guys, thank you for joining us for our very, very first Take Account of podcast. I'm Latoya Dixon.
I'm Tiffany Wilson.
And we, if you want to get in touch with us, you can check down below. My website is LFD Consults.
And mine is
Check and Balance Accounting.
Firm.com. I don't even know my website anymore. Okay. It's www.checkandbalancefirm.com.
We'll have all of it listed in our description. If you want to contact us for a consultation or anything like that, we are definitely open and willing to help you and guide you along the process of being a great business owner. That is our goal. That is why we started this podcast. Hopefully we can give you some gems and some jewels. Hopefully we'll have some special guests that drop in along the way. And if you have any questions for us, feel free to drop them in the comments and we will answer your questions.
Correct.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Peace out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.